From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024, the first check-in of the new year. Be a rather brief one, but we do have a pattern shift to talk about across North America. Look at the satellite picture here as we get started on Tuesday morning. Across the prairie, we've got a subtle little disturbance, another one of those little, subtle jet stream disturbances riding over the top of the ridge that's bringing some very light precipitation to the area. Grand Prairie, maybe some light flurry action here, and then areas north of Highway 16 across portions of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Again, some very light flurries possible across the region. Temperatures at around 7 o'clock central here on the 2nd of January, anywhere from a degree or two above zero across far southern Alberta and then far southern portions of Manitoba to around minus 12, minus 11 across the rest of the prairie. As we look at the last 7 days of precipitation, rather quiet across the prairie, a couple of areas of localized shower or flurry activity, but again, a rather quiet pattern as we went through the holiday week. Now looking at the next 7 days, broadly speaking, just kind of a smoothed out look here from the European ensemble model. We do have the chance for, again, additional shots of light precipitation, some snow shower activity, likely over the next 7 days, but nothing in the way of heavy snow until we maybe get into next week. Here's your total snow forecast, again, verbatim from the European model, taking us all the way through Saturday evening. This would be the 6th of January. Some opportunities for some snow. Probably the best chance for heavier corridor of snow over the next 5 to 7 days is going to be across portions of southern Manitoba with a system that kind of lifts into the Great Lakes over the weekend, late Saturday into Sunday. Right now, much of that snow falling across Ontario, but I would watch that one as maybe an early opportunity for some heavier accumulating snow on the order of several inches. Otherwise, the prairie in general, we're talking about light snow flurries, a coating to an inch or so, until we get to maybe next week with the opportunity for some more impactful storm systems to impact the area. How many times can you say impact in one sentence? Let's go ahead and animate on this one. We'll look at the overall pattern shift as we, again, pull away from having this persistent ridge kind of anchored across the region here. We've seen a lot of these orange and red shaded colors here, keeping us on the mild side and the quiet side. We're going to replace that over the next 5 to 7 days with a large trough that's going to anchor itself here across the western U.S. We're going to see a very active storm track from the southern U.S. into the kind of Great Lakes, the eastern U.S. here, a couple of chances for some significant snowfall across the region, riding that very strong corridor of jet stream winds. And then on the north side of that, that's where we kind of open up ourselves to the opportunity to pick up a couple of these either more impactful clipper systems or perhaps getting in on the north edge of one of these heavier storm systems that lifts from the central plains of the U.S. into the Great Lakes. So verbatim, the European model over the next 10 days, again, you'll see here near term, not a lot to worry about. We've got those light flurries today, high pressure in general across Western Canada through the later part of the week. As we get into the weekend, you see some chances for flurries. This is late Friday into Saturday. Here's where we see that little system kind of lifting into portions of Ontario as we get into late Sunday into Monday. And then as we get in here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, January 8th, 9th, and 10th, this is when the pattern really starts to open up across North America. We'll likely see, one or more significant storm systems impacting the central U.S., the Midwest, the Great Lakes into the eastern United States next week. Additionally, looking for the chance for some more impactful storm systems to kind of swing in across Western Canada, maybe bringing a corridor or two of some more significant snowfall across the region, at least on the order of several inches, unlike what we've seen here over the last month or so, a very dry December across the prairie with very inconsequential light doses of snow. Now the other part of this pattern shift is going to be a shift in the colder direction. We've seen predominantly mild conditions with very short-lived shots of cold air. Well, we're going to see a transition toward a colder pattern as we get into the weekend and early next week, probably one that's going to last a little bit longer. It may not be a prolonged deep freeze here, but we're going to kind of shift from more mild days with a couple of cold days to a pattern that is more cold days with maybe a couple of mild days mixed in there. So as we head into January, my message really is we're going to be trending colder, and the chances for snow will gradually be ticking upward here. Slow over the next 5 to 7 days, but as we get into mid and late January, would not be surprised if we're talking about more in the way of impactful snowfall across the prairie. A look at your next 10 days of high and low temperatures there. Calgary, here is Edmonton. You can see that colder trend, again, gradually as we head into next week. Those afternoon high temperatures in Saskatoon, around -5 this week, around minus 15 next week. Regina around minus 3, minus 7 this week, down to minus 15 next week. And then same look here in Winnipeg. Those high temperatures in the minus single digits for the most part this week, but trending quite a bit colder as we head into next week. We'll talk again next Monday, hopefully talking about some more in the way of some interesting weather across the Canadian Prairie. Have a great rest of your first week of 2024.